You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Player football is underway. The Dolphins are not involved in that conversation, but it doesn't mean Go Time Dolphins stops anytime soon. So to delve into a topic that a lot of the Dolphins fan base are talking about on social media, I am joined as always by Charlie Touche. Charlie, what time is it?
Bro, your internet is taking a mick right now, Kadeem.
Is it bad?
Yeah, it just started getting real choppy while you was trying to make it through the intro.
How much of it did you hear?
I think if you watch the show, then you kind of know where you were going. But you were doing the robot and you kind of glitching like Josh Allen. Although Josh Allen did not glitch today, and Buffalo took care of Denver 31-17 or 31-7. Yeah.
Yeah, 37, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fanatic of your favorite franchise. As Kadeem rocks the black GTD hat, bro. That thing so hard, boy. That thing in there, bro.
Can't wait for you to see what else we have in store for merch. Charlie, how's the internet holding up so far? Or at the moment, I should say.
It's still acting. And I'm going to be real. I know sometimes we'll record and then it's like, oh, okay, it worked out. And then sometimes like, I don't know if this one's going to work out. Every time you talk, it get kind of choppy. So I guess we're just going to have to see what it looks like on the other end.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can hear us on your end. If you can't, let us know. We will try and figure something out. Before we talk about the main topic, the Dolphins made some changes to their coaching staff. Wes Welker and who's the other guy? Danny Crossman. Wes Welker and Danny Crossman have lost their jobs, I should say. Wes Welker was the wide receivers coach and I think pass game coordinator, and Danny Crossman was the special teams coach. Before I tell you my thoughts on it, what were your thoughts, Charlie?
Yeah, I couldn't make out that one. You said before something, and then you asked me a question. What was it?
Before my thoughts. What do you think?
Before what?
What do you have?
Hello,
my thoughts.
Oh, before your thoughts. Maybe it was just your accent so thick I couldn't make it up because yeah. I mean, I think I remember we had an episode some time back where I was like, well, we just know the special teams doesn't come through. Right? We know special teams unit is an issue and they're not as good as we would like them to be. And then everyone's calling for Crossman's job, but at the same time, I think Grier and McDaniel defended Crossman. Now, I know McDaniel did for sure. I don't know if Grier did. And even when McDaniel did, I kind of felt them. I'm like, all right, he has a valid point. You know what I'm saying? Which was, do we actually know the type of personnel we need for special teams to be successful? And do we even know if we have that personnel in order for special teams to be successful? So he got a little pass for me, for sure, because I was not knowledgeable in that area. But at the same time, bro, special teams, I think special teams lost us a game or two this year, for sure. And it lost us a few games over the past couple seasons. And you know, when it's time, it's time. Like, you can't argue that Grier has to go or McDaniel has to go and not add Crossman in there too. As far as Wes Welker, I don't know that was deserving from the outside point of view, but if people felt like they had to move on, that they had to move on. Maybe. And was it Welker getting fired, or was it a mutually separate? What was it? You know what I'm saying? So maybe Welker said, "I wanted to go." He wanted to go.
Yeah. If you see me looking to my left, I have this stream on in the background. So I'm trying to work out just how bad it is for YouTube viewers. Hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, Crossman felt like a lot of fans wanted him gone. And I find it interesting that when he did go, those same fans were saying, "Oh, it's just Chris Grier trying to save his job, like he's trying to appease us fans." I don't think he'll do that. But yeah, you can talk about the last second field goals to the Cardinals and Bills. I'd argue that the defense allowed both those teams to get into field goal position. Asking for special teams to get a field goal block is a difficult thing to do. However, yeah, there's a lot of big runs given up from kick and punt returns. You can look at the really bad punts from the punter at the moment. Is it Jake Bailey? Jake Bailey, the punter?
Yeah.
And then some would argue that, Jason Sanders, with 6 different long snappers this season, had a relatively strong season. So special teams done something, but I think overall fans were sick and tired of the Dolphins being ranked dead last for special teams. And then Welker, again, I've seen some people say that, wide receivers have taken a backward step. You look at the lack of development from Ezekama when he can get on the field, all the drops from all the receivers, and the Dolphins not really being able to develop many receivers. Obviously, Washington has himself a good rookie season, but yeah, maybe Welker was the casualty, but who knows? The Dolphins have made some changes. Hopefully, they can bring in people who can, improve this franchise and roster where it matters.
What's funny, Kadeem? We said the score of the Buffalo Broncos game. We're talking about moving on from coaches. And before I wanted to get to what this episode is about, I might as well bring up one of the other AFC games, which was the Chargers versus the Texans. The Texans beat the Chargers 32-12. And 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Justin Herbert's stats were 12 for 27, 147 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks. Those were his stats. So 12 minutes into the 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Not much change after that. He ended up with 2 more completions, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 picks. And in the group chat, we got a group chat. I promise you this is going to get us where we need to go. In the group chat, during this game and kind of like early in the first half, there's people in the group chat calling out Tua. Oh, Herbert's better than Tua. In my own group chat, bro. Dolphin fans. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what evidence do we have of Herbert being better than Tua? You know what I'm saying? And I hate that we hear, you know what I'm saying? Because shout out to a couple of the affiliates. I haven't heard from them since the Chargers lost, but whatever. We'll get to that. I was thinking, Kadeem. Oh, yeah. If you could put it on mute for real quick. I was thinking, Kadeem, and I put this in the group chat. Justin Herbert's stats was 14 for 32, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. That's Justin Herbert's last playoff game. Tua's last playoff game was 20 for 39, 200 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. But I had to throw this in there. One of these games was played in negative 14-degree weather and inclement weather conditions. And the other game was played in a controlled weather environment. And if I didn't tell you those stats, you wouldn't know which game was which. So I just wanted to throw that out there. In the comparison of Tua and Herbert, I think it's gonna always be like this little race where it's like, oh, he's ahead, this person's ahead, and it goes back and forth. But right now, they're both not in the front of the pack, if I'm being fair, like of back and forth. And if we're comparing them to each other, it's not that good right now. Just had to throw that out there for all the Herbert heads, and since it's recent, we might as well throw that out there because it's probably not gonna make another podcast until the quarterback ranking.
No, I think it's perfectly valid because my timeline yesterday was full of Dolphin fans. As the game started going, if only we had Herbert, look what he's about to do to the Texans, X, Y, and Z. And then as the game was progressing, they were going, well, actually, maybe Herbert isn't that good and all that kind of stuff. And I think the best comment I saw yesterday was someone gave Herbert the excuse of he's had to play this game knowing that his house might be on fire or LA is on fire, and imagine he could do if he was stress-free. And I was like, don't do that. And this is from a Dolphins fan. This is a Dolphins fan making excuses for Justin Herbert just having a bad game. It was a bad game, but the Texans this season have done this to multiple quarterbacks. And I just find it hilarious that Dolphin fans are giving Justin Herbert more excuses than they've ever given, and he's a quarterback. Again, you don't have to like Tua, but absolutely insane.
Brings us here, Kadeem. We were talking about blowing it up, not blowing it up. Hey, appreciate you, Tim. Tim says he loves the hat, Charlie. I love the hat too, Tim. I like Kadeem's hat as well. We're talking about blowing it up, not blowing it up, and everyone knows I'm on the record for saying, nah, I don't think we should blow it up right now. It's only one bad season. Do you know how many games we won last year, Kadeem? Off the top of your head?
8.
Say again?
We went 8 and 9. We won 8 games.
Last season.
Oh, season. Was it 11?
11 games. The Dolphins won 11 games last season. Arguably could have been 13. You know that Chiefs game, we blew it, laid down. Tyreek Hill got mugged on the field, and the ball went the other way. They stripped him, and he was a part of the reason we didn't win 12 games. The Chiefs won 12 games, and had we beat the Chiefs in that game in Germany, Kadeem, we would have been the 2 seed if we beat the Chiefs. Just wanted to put that out there. Then you had the Titans game, which was inexplicable, right? So that could have been 13 wins. The fact that we took a step back this year for reasons I think is because, Tua wasn't available. I think that's very valid. Tua has a part to play in this. So does Tyreek. So does McDaniel, and so does Grier. Notice we just add a new suspect on the list of who are the reasons why the Dolphins aren't winning. And Tyreek Hill had a lot to do with that. How about this, Kadeem? I still don't think we should blow it up. I'm like, it's one bad season. We got next year. When I say next year, it's like the band will be together. Tua has continuity with the playbook. We're not switching it up all the time like the Dolphins usually do. Always moving on from a coach. We don't have a coach for 7-8 years. You know what I'm saying? There's no continuity, right? And then Tyreek Hill comes out and says what he says in the postgame. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't gonna blow it up, but if I would not be shocked if they decided to blow it up a year early because now their wide receiver 1 is in flux. I don't know. Welcome Mike Tomlin into the chat. Mike Tomlin loses. What was it? 28-14, maybe? Mike Tomlin loses to the Ravens 28-14. And shout out to the live stream as it happened. Who was it? Who's the tight end? Gonzalez, Rodriguez, Aaron Gonzalez. No, that's Aaron Hernandez.
Not sure. I think he's probably Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez. I said Aaron Gonzalez. I mixed them both up. So, Dog says, now I'm not saying Mike Tomlin should get fired. He says this on the live stream. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin should get fired, but Andy Reid was a successful head coach in Philly. and they parted ways. Andy Reid went to the Chiefs, ended up winning multiple Super Bowls and continued his success. And the Eagles ended up going to multiple Super Bowls and winning one, and they were successful. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin should get fired, but he should think about a new scenery, a mutual parting of ways. Mike Tomlin moves on and finds a new team to be successful with, and I'm sure Pittsburgh would be successful with them too. And as I heard that, I'm like, you might be onto something, Gonzo. You might be onto something. So, Kadeem, I ask you this. Mike Tomlin is available today. If he's available today, we already retained Mike McDaniel. We already retained Chris Grier. But then Mike Tomlin says, I'm out of here. Put me on the send me somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Do the Dolphins, or should the Dolphins reconsider what they said a week ago and say, you know what? Everybody was safe until Mike Tomlin became available. So we're going to go ahead and get on this Mike Tomlin train and bring him in as a head coach and be done with Mike McDaniel.
100% you have to consider it. What's interesting is I know a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and they've been very vocal on social media. They've been done with Tomlin for quite a while. And the reason is that for the last few years, every single time they're in that conversation to get the 1 seed, they just fall apart. Absolutely fall apart. They make the playoffs, they bounce, one and done, over and over and over again. I think they haven't won a playoff game since 2017 when they went 13-3. In the year since then, they've been 9-6, 8-8, 12-4, 9-7. So 9-7-1, 9-8, 10-7, and 10-7. And what Pittsburgh fans are saying is, yes, these are winning seasons, but we all know we're losing the playoffs. Like, it's a complete waste of time. Which is interesting because Dolphin fans are kind of saying the same thing. Is these winning seasons aren't resulting in playoff wins, so what's the point? But Tomlin's an interesting one because you kind of know what you're getting with the Pittsburgh Steelers under Mike Tomlin. They're going to play very hard, very disciplined. They're going to win just enough games to make the playoffs. But recently, it's just been haven't been able to quite get there. And you can look at the quarterbacks he's had. There's some of the mistakes they made in the draft. But overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, the roster they have, has a lot. They always do well in the draft, at the very least. They do well in the draft. So yeah, if I'm the Dolphins, I would definitely look at bringing in Mike Tomlin. And a lot of Dolphin fans wanted the assistant GM, or the Steelers assistant GM, is Andy Weidl, Weidl. For those who don't know about him, I think he came from the Eagles, so he's been in a few buildings at the very least, and he's seen as one of the next up and coming, GMs. And if I was the Dolphins and I'd make this decision, I'd bring them both in. I'd be like, hey, the Steelers organization, come in and the organization around, and hopefully could lead to success down the road. But at the very least, I would consider it.
We're gonna have to hold your feet to the fire, Kadeem. This isn't a should we consider Mike Tomlin podcast. This is Mike Tomlin is available today. Do you get him and let McDaniel go or nah? Like I need something on record.
Yes, I would do it.
So
I would do it. And
that being said, is that not blowing it up? Is that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because now do you retain Grier? Do you let Grier stay for a year?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so is this considered a blow up if you go get Mike Tomlin?
For me, no, because I'm not getting rid of a bunch of players. We are on the edge of winning playoff games. We need you to come in and change the culture. What you guys do well in the drafts, because I'm also getting rid of Chris Grier. Grier's gone as well. So I'm bringing in two.
How do you get rid of your head coach and your GM and it's not considered blowing it up?
Because I'm not blowing the team up. I'm just making changes upstairs. Like I said,
if you get a head coach and GM, you don't know if you're blowing the team up because you're probably giving them a lot of control.
That is true, but I'm also saying, and again, they might say, well, if we're coming in, we're blowing up. But I think even they would look at this and go, it doesn't need blowing up. It just needs fine tuning. Which, to be fair, a lot of Dolphin fans have been kind of saying that for a while. It's don't blow this team up. Just build the trenches, and you should have the tools to win some playoff games. But I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, if you do bring in a new GM and head coach, many will consider it blowing up again. I personally wouldn't, but that would also depend on the decisions those two guys make.
So Mike Tomlin becomes available today. Dolphins go get him. I don't know if he go gets the Dolphins, though, if I'm being honest. I don't know if Mike Tomlin says, hey, I haven't had a losing season my entire career. I'm a Super Bowl winning head coach. I'm not taking my talents to South Beach because that's not an organization where I think I could thrive. He might say something like that, and I would not be shocked if he did. You know what I'm saying? But in this fantasy world, if he actually did become the Miami Dolphins head coach, I got to be all for it, bro. Like, this is one of those times where it's all about timing. You know, people say, oh, it's all about timing. Like, this person became available. We didn't know this was going to happen, and a whole bunch of things. You feel me? A player sometimes wants out, and you have to be there you have to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one knew Tyreek was on the market. You know what I'm saying? Then you end up with Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, this is one of those times where it's McDaniel, you were safe until you weren't. One Mike for another. Like, we still kept Mike. We still rock with the Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, no Diddy. But you know what I'm saying? So, nah, man, I would be in on Mike Tomlin. Although I would not want to let McDaniel go, but that would be one of those tough things. Like, man, this is one of those things you have to make a decision. And I would go with Tomlin. But man, it would be tough to do it.
100%. A few comments. On the Chargers game, Tim Carroll said, Herbert did what Herbert does. Can't believe a quality head coach stopped running and expected a Herbert to be good. He then says on Mike Tomlin is interesting, always had a winning record, but lately he's been treading water. Could be best for both if he left. The first comment in the chat was from Sean Austin. He said wishful thinking and talking about, Mike Tomlin to Miami. So Tim says, yes, go get Tomlin. But IMAX says the Steelers will be happy to let him go. And I think just on that, I think, like you said, Charlie, like others are saying as well, it's just time. You've kind of taken this team as far as you can go. And you're in a division now with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. It's maybe we need a fresh set of eyes to try and take down two of the better quarterbacks in the league. Also, like, he's been there since 2007, almost 20 years. Pittsburgh coach is around for a very long time. It might be a case of going, hey, guys, because again, if you're Pittsburgh, what do you do with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? And if you're going to keep either one of them, you're finding a new quarterback. And that might be a case of, hey, we are starting again. Najee Harris is a free agent. George Pickens, I have no idea what's going on with him. I think they've got a few decisions to make about their roster. And letting Mike Tomlin walk and bringing in someone else could just be the best for one involved.
Man, this is pretty interesting. Like, and shout out to IMAX. He said Steelers would be stupid to let him go. I don't know that this would be letting him go as opposed to him saying, I want out. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's mutually part ways. So I don't know, man. Yeah, this is one of those things. It doesn't happen often. It doesn't come around like that. And you got to be ready for it when it does. Kadeem's rocking that hat. That's probably one of the dopest hats I've ever seen. Not even going to lie. I cannot even lie. That hat is in there, bro. Hey, can we get a close-up? Look at the detail of that thing, bro.
Go time as well.
Go time Dolphins. In there.
I wasn't trying to take my hat off because I haven't had a haircut in ages. It's bad.
I seen what you try to do. I seen it. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I ain't know my dog was going through it right now. So I seen you was trying to let me see how I could do this. I feel you. My bad,
Yeah,
bro.
it's a no worries. On my comment quickly, is there any other head coaches who, if they became available to you'd be like, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I need to go get them.
I mean, there's at least 10, right? Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I said 10. It's not 10 because I got the Sean McVay, and I was like, I don't know that I like absolutely stop the bus and say, McVay, welcome to the Dolphins. Like, I don't know that I do that. I said there's 10, there's not 10. Andy Reid is the first one that came to mind. Mike Tomlin is another. Let's run through the division. There's nobody in the division. There's no one in the AFC South.
You wouldn't think Harbaugh. Because I forgot his name.
Who?
Apologies. The Ravens coach.
John Harbaugh?
Yeah. You wouldn't take him?
No. I would, just not today. Like, oh, John Harbaugh's available. We're going to get him today. No, I wouldn't. I like. So I want to be careful when I say this, because Harbaugh is a dude, and he's a special teams specialist. John Harbaugh. The type of coaches we're talking about, Mike. Shout out, since we're on Mike Tomlin, I gotta say this. Mike Tomlin said, I think someone asked him, a reporter, this may be 2-3 years ago. A reporter said, hey, there's reports about you taking a college football job, to Mike Tomlin. Like, is there interest in you going to college football? This school wants you. Do you want to go coach there? And Tomlin's response was, hey, don't ask me a question like that, because you wouldn't ask Andy Reid a question like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't think there's multiple teams who will want my services? Respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you wouldn't ask Andy Reid a question like that, why would you ask me a question like that? And the way he responded, I kind of feel, dog. I kind of felt that, because why would I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm one of the, I want to say maybe, yeah, I'm one of the historic coaches in the NFL that is still successful. Why would I go coach college football? And I appreciated his response. It was accurate about that. It was valid. But I don't know if John Harbaugh is one of them boys I'll stop the bus for and be like, oh, we got John Harbaugh. I don't know, bro. And Matt, I do know. I just wouldn't do it. I don't know why, but I wouldn't do it. So we got Andy Reid, we got Mike Tomlin. I feel like there are two more that I can't think of right now. Let me pull up the list of NFL teams, though. What about you?
Just as you do that, I found Tomlin quote. It was from 2021, and he was asked about joining USC. He said, hey guys, I don't have time for that speculation. It's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? And that will be the last time I will ever address it. Not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? There's a booster with a big enough check. He then says, is anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, is anyone asking Andy Reid about stuff like that? So, yeah, shout out to Mike Tomlin. Yeah, I think the two you mentioned already, people like Sean McVay and Shanahan are interesting because they're basically more experienced versions of Mike McDaniel. I can say people turn about and go, well, they made the playoffs, you know, they've got to the Super Bowl, X, Y, and Z. But, you know, they're just the same as against the 49ers, the same mistakes that the Dolphins make, the 49ers make them as well. So I'm in no way saying that the Dolphins have the best head coach in football, but if you're going to fire Mike McDaniel, the guy you bring in has to be, you know, undoubtedly amazing. And I think even Sean Payton, great season with the Chargers. Absolutely great season. No, Payton's with the Broncos. Who's the Chargers?
Jim Harbaugh is what
Jim.
Chargers.
Apologies.
Remember, hey,
to be fair,
by the way, Jim Harbaugh made Herbert run the ball more. Like, no more throwing the ball, Herbert, because you don't have it as a passer. So we're gonna make you run the ball more. I just want to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? That Herbert is a game manager, so to speak, right now. I'm just throwing it out there. Game manager, Herbert. Game manager.
But just on him and Sean Payton, and everyone raved about them, and again, even Dolphin fans, this is what the Dolphins missed out on X, Y, and Z. We should have got these guys. They won in the playoffs, both of them, and they weren't close game. Both of them I don't say embarrassed, but both of them lost by multiple scores, which probably could have been the Dolphins. Like Dolphin fans, and not all of them, some of them are planning for guys who are doing no better than Mike McDaniel, in my opinion. Yes, we didn't make the playoffs this year, but are you really going to sell your soul for Sean Payton or just going well and done in the playoffs? Like, let's be serious.
So I was looking at the teams in the NFL, and I couldn't figure out who the Jaguars coach is. Oh, they don't have one. Sorry. Off the top rope. I think there's only 3 coaches that I would do this for, which is Tomlin, Andy Reid, and Kyle Shanahan. Those are only 3 coaches I'll do it. These coaches, if this was the NFL coaching draft, you know what I'm saying, those would be the 3 coaches that I target first. And that's it. If anybody else came available, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anything else before we head to bonus time?
Nah, that's it. You got something?
That players are still on, which means you can go and bet on your daily fantasy sports with the Fantasy Game Day app. Shout out to the guys over there. They have blessed us with the code GTDFF. That's promo code GTDFF for free second entry if you want to play daily fantasy sports in the UK. That's from me.
Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Ollie,
Yo.
Are you afraid of Mike Vrabel joining the New England Patriots? And what do you make of the way the Patriots handled that hiring?
I seen there's a little bit in the media about abusing the Rooney rule. For those who don't know, shout out to the Rooneys, by the way. The Rooneys own the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they paved the way for Black coaches to get more of an opportunity in the NFL. And they actually made their own rule and presented it to the NFL, and that's why it's called the Rooney Rule. And that's why the rule is basically minorities have to get interviewed. I think it's 2 minorities. Teams are required to interview at least 2 minorities before hiring a head coach. And then, there's other rules in the NFL now where that kind of influence hiring more minorities. So, Robert Saleh was a beneficiary of, well, no, I shouldn't say beneficiary, but was a byproduct of that rule. And then now I think this is getting wild, where I think you get a 3rd round pick if a coach from your staff is hired as a head coach. So your team gets a 3rd round pick. I think your team, the team that the coach came from, gets the pick, and the team that got the coach gets a pick. I think I could be wrong about it. I think I could be wrong about the team receiving the coach getting the pick, but I know the team where the coach came from gets the pick for sure. So the reason I said that is because you asked a question about, was there any malice basically behind the way New England went through the process? And I think there's a fine line for this, because if you have a candidate that you know that you really like, there's a rule in place that says I have to do something. I have to do what this rule says I have to do, but I know I want this candidate, irregardless of color, you know what I'm saying, or race, you know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with New England. They wanted a guy and they got their guy, but they basically just checked the boxes in these interviews just to say, hey, we got to do this. So we're going through the motions. It's unfortunate, but this is where we have arrived. I would be more up in arms if this was something that could be that could hold more weight, meaning if it could be proven to be malicious. But nah, I'm okay with it.
I think what you said about could it be proven, you basically need Bill Belichick to text Brian Flores like he did about the Brian Dable thing and be like, congratulations on the job. It's interesting that Aaron Glenn, the Lions DC,
yeah,
he turned down an interview with the Patriots because allegedly, like he knew he wasn't getting the job. He knew he'd been interviewed for the Rooney Rule. The two people they did interview were Leftwich and
Pep Hamilton.
And people were like, they haven't been in the NFL or had head coaching jobs for a while. Like, are these really the two that you want to interview? And especially people kind of expected that for Mike Rabel to get that job. So, yeah, unless, Belichick or someone, once again, text the wrong person, I can't imagine there's much the NFL can really do. And again, like you said, it can be difficult because if you know 100% on someone, but you kind of have to go through this, through the process, no matter what you do, you're always going to be seen as, basically wasting everyone's time. So it's interesting. Tim Carroll says was a done deal. No one else had a chance at the patch job. He then said we could get 2 third rounders if one of our staff gets a GM job he's interviewing for. It's Reggie McKenzie. The Titans have interviewed Reggie McKenzie for the general manager position, and if he goes, I believe the Dolphins will get 2 third rounders. I also believe, could be wrong on this, if Weaver gets a head coaching job, I don't think the Dolphins get a third rounder because I don't think he'd been in the building long enough. But that could just be one of those internet things which isn't true. I don't
like that, bro. I don't like that. If that's the case, I don't like it. Like, yo, hold up. How y'all say it? Well, the person has to be on your staff for over a season. Like, hold on, bro. They on our staff and they left. They were a critical part of our staff, and they got a head coaching job after that. Why wouldn't we get that pick? I don't like that part if that's the case.
Yeah, I've seen a few websites saying that the Dolphins will get a third rounder, and that's very possible to all of those websites. You are basically your fan websites. And I'm not going to take your word for it. No offense.
I believe they do, though. I believe we do get a third rounder if Weaver becomes a head coach, and it's not this year's draft. I think it's next year's draft.
Yeah.
Hey, Kadeem, I ain't gonna let me know when we about to sign out because I got something on the way out.
I'm just going to quickly Google the question. And again, there's websites saying that the Dolphins would not be getting a third round pick because we hasn't been in the NFL for 2 years. I've been with the Dolphins for 2 years. So,
I don't like that. I don't like it.
Yes. Sports Illustrated saying that the Dolphins would not be allowed to get 2 third round picks because we hasn't been with the Dolphins for 2 years, which is insane.
Oh, it's
absolutely insane.
Hold on. It's 2 third round picks?
According to Sports Illustrated, yes.
Bro, that's crazy. Hold on. So I just want to clear something up. Let's say who we got. I don't know who we got. So let me just ask this. Yeah, that's a bad way too. Dang. Let me see. All right. Weaver comes back next year, and in the following year he gets a head coaching job. the rule is not 1 3rd-round pick; it's 2 3rd-round picks, compensatory picks.
Apparently so. And
is
that's
it
why
the same year, or is it like a 3rd-round pick in 2 different years, consecutive years, seasons?
I'm not sure. Again, me ask Google. Yeah, I think that's why the Dolphins would get 2 for Reggie McKenzie. So it's interesting.
So, how do you feel about the rule, by the way? You know what I'm saying? Like, this could have been a February episode for Black History Month, if this rule right here. But how do you feel about this rule? I know there's people who don't like the rule because they feel like it offsets some things. Like, man, so this team gets 2 3rd-round picks for hiring a minority head coach. Like, and then they feel like it kind of upsets the apple cart. How do you feel about it?
I think as a black person myself, I can see why it needed. Because there's a lot of people who just, in the best way possible, hire who look just like them. Their circles of people who look like them, and that's kind of all they know. They're gonna, relate to them a lot more. So I can see why they do it, or why that rule is there. But yeah, the rule isn't perfect. It's very easy to skirt around it. Like, I don't think the Giants got in trouble for hiring Brian Dable, despite the fact that, again, they only seemingly interviewed Brian Flores just for the sake of it. So because there's no punishment for teams who allegedly interview coaches just to get around the rule, there's not much you can really do about it. And also, it will be 1 pick in 2025 and 1 in 2026. So that's for McKenzie. I would assume it would be the same for Anthony Weaver as well.
So I remember when this rule became a thing. I still kind of don't know all of the rule, obviously, but here's why I'm okay with this rule. Because it can't be circumvented like the Rooney rule. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Rooney rule, you're just interviewing, like, all right, I know I'm not going to hire this guy. I'm just doing it because I have to. And this is not just for black candidates. This is for minority candidates. You know what I'm saying? So what's your boy name? Ron Rivera, minority candidate. Yes. Robert Saleh, minority candidate. And then for this rule, I believe is like, yo, if you're willing to put such a important piece in your organization as the GM or the head coach, and we're trying to encourage more minority hirings, compensation coming back in the form of compensation, I'm okay with it, because it's not like, again, you can't get around the rule. Like, you're telling me, oh, well, they just hired this guy because they got 2 3rd-round picks. Like, dang, really? People would really do that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy to me that you think someone would really do this. You feel me?
Well, I was going to say, you think that's why it kicks in after 2 years? Like, if you're really going to hire a black coach for two 3rd-round picks, you're going to stay there for 2 years. Like, you're not going to sabotage yourself for 1 year. Like, do you think that's part of the rule, or part of the reason?
Because I'm not sure that is the rule, but if it is the rule, I can understand that as well. I don't know though, bro. Like, that's an important piece to just self-sabotage with yourself for. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Since we on the topic, how many minority head coaches get a bad deal by going to the sorriest team in the league for 1 year and then getting fired after 1 year? And it's like, well, this wasn't even a fair chance anyway. So you could be right. Like, yo, some of these coaches go to the trashiest teams and are asked to turn it lemons into lemonade. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't happen. So yeah, I could see why it would be 2 years, but I don't know. I'm here for the rule though. I do like the rule. I think it helps with the minority hirings.
That would be a whole episode in itself, and still time. February we might address it again. So shout out to that conversation. Tim says percentage of players in the NFL compared to the percentage of GMs, head coaches, etc. Rule is needed. A league is not fair, but some teams will be tick boxing. However, people getting interviews can only be a good thing. Maybe some owner hears things that surprise them. He says the picks is an odd thing, but I get it, and yeah, the two thing makes sense. It's harsh that we take Weaver and then he goes to be a head coach, want him for longer. And you also asked another question: is the merch available yet? Not yet, but we're working on this daily. So watch this space. Also, watch out if you're on Patreon as well. That's all I'm going to say for now. But Charlie, is there anything else from your end?
I was going to go into something, but that's a whole episode, bro. Listen, 2 days ago, I started Touche's 24. And I started looking at the draft, and I hated that I actually turned the corner and I'm in draft season because of this thing. And while the NFL season isn't over. And I done figured out some things about why the Miami Dolphins are not in a bad place. And I cannot wait to have that whole episode. Not just the Touche's 24 episode, but just the offseason, what should we do in the offseason type of episode? Because we're not that in a bad position. And Chris Grier has a chance to be like, talk about me now, say something now. You know, he has a chance to really save his face. And just a little side note on the way out, Kadeem. Remember I said if the Miami Dolphins are in striking distance of Brock Bowers, they should trade up and get him? And he was like, oh, I'm not trading up for a tight end. I'm just saying. Like, we could have had Brock Bowers.
I still wouldn't have done it, but I can see the point. And it's also very interesting that after saying all season, after being annoyed, the Dolphins went offensive, not 1% of offensive line, and saying they must go offensive line in the first round, Dolphin fans are talking themselves into taking a tight end at pick 13. This fan base will always do the thing that makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. We don't know when we're back. Should we this week at some point? But as long as you're subscribed, your notifications are turned on, we'll be back soon. We ain't going nowhere, just work schedules, all that kind of stuff. But
we ain't
what more
going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. I don't want to sing that song no more.
Yeah, you gotta get us canceled over here, boy.
I was gonna say it's go time for life. It's go time for life, but I don't rock with Diddy no more, bro.
Let's
Diddy ain't it.
But if you want more Go Time Dolphins content, then yeah, go back and look at our older episode. I always highly recommend our conversation with Javon Holland. For any episode, go back and look at our one talking about Tyreek Hill or Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier. We have 5 years of content over on Spotify and 4 years over on YouTube. So until the next time, we shall see you soon. Peace.